Another adjustment here, as always. Now, over the past week, I have tried to record several sessions. Unfortunately, what happened is that, well, I think that I was messing around with the setup of the channel and I inadvertently set it up for Spanish. So it was listening to my English and translating it to Spanish, and then all that came out was like this garbled nonsense. And the only way that you could understand what I was talking about would be is if you actually attended the live session. If you didn't attend the live session and you went back to the recording, then it was all fucked up. Excuse my French. Not really. Okay. So what I'm calling this is Existential Conundrum. That's the title of this presentation. What does that mean exactly? I think that too often we hear this word existential, and we really, I mean, most of us have not studied philosophy. Most of us, if anything, maybe we've read a philosopher or two. And if, in fact, you do want to understand existentialism, one recommendation I would make, and this is based on a course that I took in college 40 years ago. And one of the first books that I was asked to read was Nausea by Jean-Paul Sartre. And it's a very easy read. So if you're interested at all, it's thin. It doesn't take long at all. And you'll get the idea of what this is. Nausea refers to this dread when we sort of come to terms with our existence, if we do at all. And I think that some people never come to terms with the nature of our existence. And what is the nature of our existence? Well, we are. That's it. There, and that doesn't. It's not an entire philosophy. I mean, this is not what they think. Okay. What happens is in academics and in any area of life, what you're going to find are just people that want to put their egos out in front and just say, hey, look at me. And of course, I would not be appearing to be doing anything different, especially considering my looks, which call attention. But you see, the way I look is not necessarily an invitation to observe. It's just me being myself. And anything that anybody else would project onto that is simply, a projection of our thoughts. Because if you're looking at me and you're making certain assumptions, there's no basis for the assumptions except for what you think or how you process reality. And that's in essentially what existentialism is trying to understand the nature of existence. Now, there are some things in this that people will say. For example, there's a question, why do I exist? Well, here's where I'm going to sort of enter into the conundrum realm. Okay. So, why I exist, there are different layers to the reasons. Now, I could look at the very first layer and say that the reason I exist is essentially to serve somebody else. At least that's what I found out. Um, I never really spoke with my mother on existential matters or had any profound conversations with my mother. You know, my mother was more present in my life than my father, but my father wasn't completely absent. He was there at times. Um, and I never asked him this question, but I did ask my mother. And I said, "Why did you have me?" And she gave me an answer that was actually a little bit shocking to me. She said, "So somebody could take care of me when I'm old." Now, I don't know if that's really, her motivation, but my mother was a simple woman. She died in 2005 in July after being diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And when she was diagnosed, she died about 3.5 months afterwards. And that was very, very difficult time for me, very challenging, and it took me a long, 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 long time to get over it and to be able to even discuss it. But I'm getting a little sidetracked. So conundrum, what that means is just this incredibly confusing. Okay, and what is confusing? Well, our existence is confusing. What we're doing, why we're doing, what is our purpose, if any purpose, or anything like that. Yeah. But in my mind, there is no value to trying to find the answers to those questions. Um, I mean, we can look and we can look and we can look and we can look, and we're never going to find it. Might be fun looking. Hopefully, it is fun looking. So wondering about the why am I here? Uh, Forget it. Don't ask that question. Don't ask why you're here. Just know that you're here. And from that point, move forward. I think that we look into the past too much. Not to say that the past is unimportant, but I think that we give it too much importance. And that's a different story. Okay. Uh, Now, so why? Is there a purpose? Well, again, this is something that that would be very difficult to find out. If we look at the scale, of the things that have happened, to me, it seems fairly obvious what's happening. Um, we are a part of. I mean, this is what we were told anyway, and it seems to make sense. We're part of an explosion. We're the debris in that explosion. And in the time that I say this, I mean, I'll be gone. I'll be dead. The time is, completely relative, and it makes, right now we're experiencing an eternity, and we're experiencing a brief moment of time. We're experiencing both things at the same time because, like I said, we are in an explosion. Things have exploded out. There is no singularity. Everything has diverts, and that's the movement: diversion, diversion, moving out, moving out. Now, does that mean that at a certain point all of the energy that was that came from that singular burst, will it recede like a pulse and then explode again, or will it is simply sort of move as a sort of a kind of a cune form where it just meets and then boom and explodes again, and it just does this constantly like waves. As far as we know, we could be just in the middle of a wave. That's it, just in the middle of the wave, like like Russian dolls, a doll inside a doll, inside a doll, inside a doll, inside a doll, inside a doll. And that's it. We would never find out the answer. And I don't understand exactly what is this this need to know, and that need to know puts us in a vulnerable position. Existential conundrum. We are in an environment. All of us are in an environment. That's not the same environment, though. We are each in our own environments. We have individual environments. So, sort of the way I look at this is we're each bubbles. We're bubbles, like molecules that move around. And like molecules, sometimes we form or we unite with other molecules, we bond, and that bonding creates another uh, type of organization. There are too many, too many forces, external forces that influence our behavior. And that actually not only influence our behavior, but it actually controls our behavior. And that's the part that we need to be aware of. Am I letting external factors control who I am? Or am I determining who I am by managing external factors? What is the line? Where do we draw the line? Where does the line between the environment and myself end and begin? Don't know. We'll never know. See, this is the thing that I think creates a lot of conflict in us, is that we have a lot of difficulty saying, I don't know. Rather than say, I don't know, we want to put our egos out in front and say, well, I believe this, or I think that, or I think this. Where if you really stop and look and think and look all around you, there's something that is undeniable, that we are all part of, of this thing, this growth, this planet, this sphere. We're all part of it. The fact that we're separate is kind of an illusion, or it is an illusion, actually, because we think we're separate. We're actually unified with everything. Everything. We are unified with everything. We are everything. We are all the chemical. We are many compounds. What makes up our mind is just the growth of an organ, that is based itself on sensory movements of different sorts, and developed, from when there was no sense at one time. There was no sight. There was no eyes. There was no ears. It was just movement. And all we know is that we want to continue to move. That's it. We don't even know that. We just move. We just move. That's what we're doing. We're just moving. We're just moving. It's sometimes, sort of catches up to us in a way. This is again, everything that you see has been created by us. If you don't control it, it controls you. I lose control too often. I've been trying to do open mics, and when I get up there, my head just kind of blanks out. I sort of lose track of what I'm doing, or I just lose my thoughts. I don't know what it is. I'm still wrestling with it and trying to manage it a little bit better. So the conundrum isn't a conundrum if we start looking at it in a different way. Is that some of the questions that we ask ourselves are really not necessary. Again, the environment, others, they exert force on us. They demand things of us. That can be our family, our partner, our job, our political party, our peers. People demand things from us. They want things from us. And if we can't give them those things, guess what? You lose value in their eyes. And if you lose value in their eyes, what does that mean? It means they have no interest in you anymore. Okay. Well, I've gone on for about 15 minutes now. And I think I've said what I wanted to say. I know I'm going to have to leave pretty soon, so I'm actually cutting it short. I am speaking a little softer because I have other people that are up and about, and I don't want to create or generate noise. So, somebody stopped in briefly and then went away. Whoop, and that's cool. No problems with that. Anyway, if you like this, of course, just like. If you have a comment, of course, just comment, and go ahead and see. But Nausea by Jean-Paul Sartre is a good book to pick up. It might even be free on Google Read. So wouldn't be a bad idea to check that out. Always check out, free library, whatever sources that you have available, to give it a quick read and to give you the feeling of nausea, which is the essence of the existentialism of Jean-Paul Sartre, is that when we start to sort of look at ourselves and realize that there is nothing except what we do, or, that's what has the value, actually. This is our existence. We have to create the value of our existence. Otherwise, what does that mean? So, that all being said, I may go ahead and revisit this, listen to it, see how it came out. Um, and then, like I said, if you like it, go ahead, say like. If not, and we'll just wrap it up there. Take it easy and have a good one.